And welcome in to another episode of the Football Smack Talk Show. I am your host, Ryan.
I'm Eric.
Welcome in, everybody, to another Victory Wednesday as the Eagles continue their winning ways. 10 in a row, franchise record, beating the cross state rivals, Pittsburgh Steelers, and beating Russell Wilson for the first time, which
Yeah.
it's hard to kind of fathom, but yeah, it's absolutely true. Um,
Yeah,
and
he's kind of had our number.
Yeah, he certainly has. But I will say this was quite the statement game. And the
Mhm.
Philadelphia Eagles certainly put the rest of the NFL on notice, in my opinion. How
Yeah.
did you see this game play out as you were watching from home instead of in the stadium?
Well, I'll tell you what, man. You could tell through the TV the atmosphere down there, and it was electric. It was like a great crowd as always. But man, the major takeaway: this defense just comes after you. Like we commit two turnovers early in the game,
Yep.
and and I mean back to back plays, really. And one they get a turnover, and the first one just three and out. The defense I don't think allowed like much more than a yard.
Yep.
And on the second, after the second one, we barely let up a yard again. And I said to my cousin, Nicholas, I go, dude, I said, like they get six plays down there and do nothing, right off turnovers. I said, we're gonna win this game. And it was at that point I already knew, like this thing's over right then. Like,
Yeah, they responded fairly well. After they had two quick turnovers, I was not, I was like, man, this is a bad sign. But the
right,
fact of the matter is, only getting 3 points off of that, barely moving, having negative 1 yard in the first quarter, and really just dominating both sides of the football. Obviously, Jalen came in to this game wanting to prove something to people that he could, take over,
right,
throw a game, and he sure did that. He almost threw for 300 yards, two touchdowns. Him, AJ, and Devontae were absolutely fantastic. Both receivers over 109 yards and a touchdown. Devontae with 11 catches, 109 and a touch. That's wild. And yeah, they imposed their will. And you know, if if there was one word or one moment, I should say, not word, that really just showed the dominance of this team, it was that 21 play, 10-minute drive at the end of the game to ice everything.
yeah.
They
What if I told you the drive of the year didn't
didn't
yield
have
any
points.
points?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, they sure didn't. So yeah, listen, I thought this was a fantastic game. Um, and yeah, it was there's not a lot to come out of this game being upset. I mean, you know,
no,
while it wasn't a perfect game, that actually ends up to me being a great thing because that shows that you still have things to improve upon and they can
sure.
get better.
Sure, a
And
couple of
they
great coachable moments, but man, you kind of have to reach for them. I mean, the two turnovers, obviously, you don't like that,
obviously.
and the Jalen Carter penalty that really set up the long drive. But that's about it.
Yeah. Well, listen, I don't necessarily blame Jalen Carter. He's certainly
No,
got to be smarter, but yeah, it's probably frustrating for the 700th play in a row. He's being, held and shoved around and gets absolutely zero calls.
yeah,
So I can understand his frustration in all of that. But yeah, listen, I just I can't be happier right now as an Eagles fan. Heading into the last three games of the year, we're playing our division once more, and things are looking rather good. We need a little help if we're going to be able to get that number one seed, but I think it's very
sure.
attainable. What was I will say, Eric, for from the Pittsburgh game? What's either one take or maybe one player or something you want to highlight from that game? That stood out to you.
Well, you know what? There's a couple things that immediately jump to mind, but for the sake of time, I'll just go with one. Yep,
Well, and I only
and
asked
to
for
follow
one.
instructions.
I only yeah, way to go. I said, Eric, what's one thing? You're like, well, I can say a lot of things, and I don't know how I'm gonna narrow it down to one.
But no, I will say one thing: the gang tackling on this team. Like every time they would slow up somebody, and in the past when it's like you knew they were going to miss a tackle,
Yep.
and you knew that first guy wasn't going to bring him down, and he was going to break through and get 10 yards. But man, this team, it's like they even if they don't bring him down, they
Just slow them
slow him
down
down
enough.
enough to where somebody else is going to get there and make a tackle. And at times where normally I would have gotten worried, like, oh no, he's going to break free and get some yards. I just wasn't. I
Yeah.
wasn't concerned at all.
Yeah, that's a good point. Tackling certainly has been a point of emphasis for this team, especially since the bye. Players like CJ Gardner Johnson, Darius Slay, have all seen their tackling improved since the bye week, and overall as a team, they certainly have improved that throughout the board. And yeah, it's really great to see. And I think that's part of the reason why this defense is playing at such a high level and why it's one of the better defenses in the league this year. And
Yeah,
so,
statistically, they're number one, right?
yeah, I mean, I guess depending on
Depending on
what
what stat you go
statistics,
by. Yeah.
yeah, right. But yeah, they're
I
right
go
there.
by the one that says we're number one.
Oh, well, there you go. Then I guess we're
Yes.
number one.
Yeah. Whichever
Um,
one says we're number one, that's the one I go with.
there you go. Yeah, so we're still in the fight for the number 1 seed. Obviously, Minnesota and the Detroit Lions still also stand at 12 and 2. But they play each other at the end of the year, so that should eliminate one of them. But unfortunately, both teams have the bye currently over us.
Right.
So
But the way I see it, Minnesota plays Green Bay next week.
yep,
Minnesota loses to Green Bay,
yep,
then beats Detroit.
yep.
We win out and we get home field.
That's the way I see it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, as much as, um yeah, I think it's gonna be funny because I think that last game of the year, that Giants game, may end up being for nothing. We may,
Just a
uh
big party out in the lot the whole day.
yeah, I mean, we may be, already locked into the number 2 spot, and say Minnesota and, Detroit meet, that last game of the year with only 2 losses each. It's really not gonna matter because, again, the winner of that will get the 1 seed, um,
Right.
which is wild to think about 2 divisional teams fighting not only for the division, but for the 1 seed. So what the winner is gonna get a 1 seed, the loser is gonna get a 5 seed.
Now, you know what would be wild? So they both have just two losses.
They
We still
tie.
only, if they tie, and then 15-2 is better than 14-2-1.
That I guess theoretically would be, our
Huh?
best case scenario. Should
Yeah.
they both meet, can you imagine that? Jesus.
That'd be hilarious.
I wonder who
I
would
don't
get
know who would get tiebreaker in that.
I
Well, no,
the
Detroit
Lions
beat
would.
them in the
Yeah,
so they
Detroit
would be
beat them.
1-on-1, so they would win the division in that
Yeah,
spot.
so all they have to do is just not lose.
Right. You gotta it'd be wild, but I mean, Dan Campbell's such a gambler, you know what he would do. But like if they had the ball in overtime and it's like they've got like a
Oh
minute
my god,
left,
can you
and it's
imagine?
like
We would
you
be
just
we would
say,
be
screw
locked in on
it,
that
we're
game.
just gonna just take the division. I'm not gonna try and risk it to go for the home field. But you
Uh,
know he would. You know he
it
would. Like
would.
that's just a
But
gambler.
again, Eagles fans would be all over that game.
Oh yeah.
Uh, just go play for the time, play for
Yes.
the time.
Yeah. Kneel it out. Come
Yeah.
on, damn it.
Oh, man. Well, either way, the Philadelphia Eagles have certainly, exceeded our expectations,
Yes.
Eric. I know
Especially
we
early on. If you told me even leaving the Cleveland game, if you had told me, hey, so we're gonna not lose again, like at all.
yeah.
We're gonna
Um,
win off 10 in a row. Like I'd have been like, okay, what are you smoking and do you have any more?
Yeah, well, considering that we had 11 or 12 wins in our preseason, game by game predictions, we're already there
You already
and
met it. Yep.
I already met it. So, yeah, I think this has to look as a successful season with room to grow. And, again, playoffs are certainly going to tell us everything. And,
Sure.
yeah, hopefully they can make a deep run and build on something that, let's be honest, I don't think many fans thought that this was a possibility for this
Not in September, no.
year. Yeah. So, but as we turn the page, we get ready for the Washington Commies once again. Commanders kind of went on a little losing streak after we beat them. It seems like they may have righted their ship just in time to play us again.
Sure.
But Eric, I was going to say, is there one concern? And again, I stress the number one for you to follow the instruction. If you had to have one going into this game against the Commanders.
Well, I'd say look, Washington has a really good running game, and that's still concerning. Like, we're a great defense against the run and the pass, honestly. But Washington, like, they can run the ball, and I think they're going to stick with it, much like the Eagles. They'll stick with that run even if it's not working in the first half. So, I mean, but the answer to that is just build up a big lead, and then they can't run the ball on you in the second half. But yeah, that would be my concern. If you had to ask me to pick one, that would be it. The Washington run game.
Okay. Yeah. Listen. Is what is the health of Eckler? Is he still?
I think he's still out, but
Yeah.
Robinson's there, and he's
Yeah. Robinson and obviously Jaden Daniels.
right.
Yeah, I didn't know if he was planning on coming back at any point soon, but yeah. Listen, the other thing I think is our health, especially our offensive line health.
Yes.
We had a kind of makeshift line there, Dickerson going down, and it all appears that Dickerson is looking fine.
Right.
So hopefully that won't be any issue to worry about. Because yeah, obviously the offensive line has been playing great, but it's a big difference between when Tyler Steen has to come in off the bench or when he knows he's going to be starting.
Sure.
He's a different player, and rightfully so. I think when you have time to prepare physically and mentally for something, rather than just oh hey, by the way, you're the guy now. There's definitely a different mindset, and
Sure. And I think a lot of guys thrive on the being prepared, knowing week to week what their role's going to be. And I think Tyler Steen's one of them. It's funny because I would tell you that like somebody like a Nick Foles, I think is quite the opposite. He thrives in that, hey,
well,
just throw him out of bed and say, hey, go win a football game today.
well, yeah, there are certainly players that are like
But yeah,
that.
no, I agree though
I
that
feel like
Tyler Steen is
offensive
like that.
line
Yes.
though is
Agreed.
it's a different animal. For whatever reason, the being as prepared as possible always seems to be the
Well, getting the week in practice, getting used to who's next to you, like when do they like to snap it? Like what their movements look like. Like it's all very unique to that group.
yeah,
And the more time you get together, just the better off you're gonna be.
yeah. No, agreed. Um, so I actually wanted to talk to you about something, and theoretically, I guess it has something to do with the past game, but
Sure.
perhaps the last couple of games. But um, as you know, Eric, you certainly know me for you know how
It's
long?
been a minute. Yeah.
About 30,
Yeah,
30
30
years, maybe.
something years. Yeah.
Jeez,
Jeez.
yikes!
How do we put up with each other this long?
That is depressing. Um,
Are we old enough to know somebody 30 years?
yeah, right. Um, so obviously, recent games, a certain player has played rather well.
Yeah.
And an unexpected player, if you will. One that you know that I personally do not like.
Yes.
And yeah, it's funny that it's kind of the running joke about me and my
Hatred of backup running backs. Yeah.
my hatred of backup running backs.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, was I majorly vindicated earlier this year when Smallwood
Yeah. Absolutely. But are
is
you about to do a mea culpa on Wendell Smallwood?
no, I'm not gonna do a mea culpa on Wendell Smallwood.
No, I mean, I'm sorry, Kenny Gainwell. I'm sorry. I got all tied up with Kenny Gainwell. Sorry.
Whoa,
My apologies to
whoa,
Mr. Kenneth Gainwell.
how dare you?
Yeah, no, seriously, how
I
dare
have
you?
I have never insulted him that bad.
Sorry. Okay, Kenny Gainwell. You're about to do a mea culpa on Kenny Gainwell.
No.
Okay.
I think there's just been a lot of this groundswell of how well he's done, and listen, was
He's
he
been fine. He's been
what
serviceable.
was he been very clutch on third downs? Yes.
Hmm.
Everybody wants to talk about the spin move, which clearly Saquon Barkley has been teaching him in practices.
So
Um,
you'd say this is just a further emphasis on Saquon Barkley's the MVP?
yeah, I mean, I think he is making Kenny Gainwell, as you said, serviceable.
Hmm.
I before did not think he was at all to be serviced. Uh,
Okay.
so um, yeah, so I will give a lot of credit to Saquon Barkley. And I'm not saying that Kenny Gainwell, is this bum or anything, but
Well, you're not saying he's not.
I'm not also saying he's not. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And listen, I got it. He's averaging 4.6 a carry. Um,
Yeah, serviceable. He's good. Like, he's
yeah,
done all right. Like,
yeah.
he's
And,
done
and
his
listen,
job.
I still have out there, and I reiterated it on Monday night on my Monday night show on Party on Broad. That if should Kenny Gainwell get a touchdown, I will give the people um, a little surprise, if you will.
Okay.
Um, but ever since I have said that, the man can't sniff the end zone. So just saying,
There
maybe
was a couple times on Sunday I thought he was gonna get
it
there.
was it was close. It was close. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie. There were a couple of times where I went, crap, there it is. Oh man, I was like, man, the chat is gonna absolutely be on me on this one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely am not gonna lie. I definitely thought that. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to join last night's Birds of the Roundtable on the Eagles Pin Pull Network, which, by the way, you can see all the ways here and way, way over there in the corner, all the shows we have. If you haven't followed us on all of the socials and wherever you get your podcast, please do so. Give it a share. Tell your friends, family, and even your enemies, as long as they're Birds fans, about Eagles Pin Pull Network. And if you have a second, give us a 5-star review. Every little bit does help, honestly. And it takes you no money. And it takes you no more than 10 seconds. So, all right. Well, that's my spiel for that. But yeah, so I wasn't on Birds of the Roundtable, and yes, obviously they were discussing some Kenneth Gainwell and how much the people were much in love with him. And listen, I get it. I think as the season goes, getting him some more carries is fine. Do I want to see a little Shipley action? Yeah, I do.
Mhm.
Um, but I think more importantly, I think giving Saquon Barkley some spells when we are clearly dominating a game is perfectly fine.
Well,
Uh,
look, it was very clear the Steelers were pretty focused on stopping Saquon Barkley and making Jalen beat them throwing the football.
right.
And Jalen was able to do that on Sunday, and that's why we won.
Yeah, you could say that. He sure was. He sure was. He was fantastic. I think Jalen silenced all the critics. I think the BS drama that was last week, I think was overstated quite a
Yeah.
bit. And yeah, I think that was his fun way of basically telling everybody to.
Shut the bleep up. Yeah.
So yeah. But as we move on, we have three divisional games. This is, the first one obviously is going to be super important. We
Yeah.
win,
You
we win
win
the
this one, you get
division.
lots of shirts.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, listen, the Cowboys game is still going to be important as well too, because we're still in the hunt for we
Well,
won't
right.
know we're out of the hunt for the number 1 seed until after the Cowboys week. Like, going into the final week of the season,
Right.
we'll know. I mean, again, let's be honest, it has as funny as it would be to have Minnesota and the Lions tie.
Right.
We all know that is, um,
I'm wondering how like the TV will work for that. Like if because I gotta believe that if Detroit and Minnesota are both 14-2 going into that last game,
yeah.
they gotta put them on Sunday night, right? Or do they put them on the same time as the Eagles? But like, I mean,
What
because
time is well, that's the thing, we
it's
don't know
not
yet.
been announced yet.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't know.
I would
Shoot.
assume if they're gonna try to line them up to where they're both on at the same time, it will be 4 o'clock starts.
See, I don't know if I like
I don't
that.
either. I don't
I
either.
I think you raise the better game
Yes,
to Sunday night.
I agree with you. And that would definitely be Detroit, Minnesota. You put them on Sunday night. I'd say put the Eagles and Giants at 1 o'clock because why
Yeah,
the hell are you going to feature the Giants in any role? Just let the
there
Eagles
you go.
hopefully come out and stomp them.
Right, and also considering that the Eagles may be playing Kenny Pickett, so
Right. And I mean, if they just basically go into it with the approach of we know unless we get a tie, we're not getting the 1 seed. Like, let's just go out there. Let's roll with Kenny Pickett. If we're not going to get the bye, let's treat this as our bye. And let's
yeah,
play Kenny Pickett and let's play Kenny Gainwell and let's
play
rest.
all the Kennys. Play all the Kennys.
Yep. Will
So
Shipley get some spells at running back? Yeah, absolutely agree with it.
so, but yeah, listen, I'm, I think, coming off of the Carolina win, even though some people thought it was a loss,
Easy dub.
the way
Easy
that
dub.
the way they were talking, it was good to see them respond in this way. I mean,
Yeah.
they again started off a little, but they managed to still figure it out, gained lots of yards, scored 10 points in the first quarter, which
Yeah.
I haven't done all year. Um,
Yeah, we were
so
going crazy at that. And of course, right away, Aunt Serena says when we scored points in the first quarter, she's like, I hope that's not a bad omen. We haven't scored points in the first quarter all year. And then I'd turn around and say, you shut your
it
bleeping
was,
mouth.
you know what? I've become very aware in this moment that it's your entire family.
That is so negative.
Well, no, that don't understand how jinxes work.
Yeah, no, they do not get it. That's why Nicholas said what he said during the Super Bowl.
And he almost died.
Yes, he did. He has
Oh,
no idea how near he came to needing his maker.
yes. Hey, Krabby, what's going on, buddy? Yeah, you didn't miss a damn thing. We're just, me and Eric, we're just BSing about the games.
Yep.
In fact, we're probably going to get out of here pretty soon. Unfortunately, it's a short show. I got stuck at work. My apologies. I also have to get over to my second job. I have too many jobs because
You really do.
this is technically a job.
Yeah.
Um,
So you
uh,
have 3 jobs. Yeah.
technically, I have 4,
Oh,
5,
jeez.
5 jobs.
You know, you're not doing very much to portray that lazy man's approach that I like to portray.
Yeah, I literally have worked every night this week.
Oh,
I think I don't work Friday night. I work Friday day,
well,
but
yeah.
my
Well,
my
hey,
my
I'm gonna be
real
meeting a
job.
bunch of people over at Chickies in Audubon. You should come hang out.
I'll ask Ro if he wants to come.
All right.
Uh,
Well, by the time you'd be able to get there, it might be kid friendly.
I don't know what that means.
Well, we're celebrating. The one guy's leaving the. Well, he's not leaving the company. He's actually going to the other side of the country.
California?
Well, Washington
Ah,
State.
yeah, still counts.
Yeah, absolutely.
That
So if
sucks.
you're going to the other side of the country, at least go to the cool part, like Southern California or
San
something. That
Diego?
was awesome. Yeah.
Not cold and rainy. What is he going to, like, Portland?
Outside of Seattle.
Ugh, even
Yeah.
worse.
Yeah. Right.
Well, all right. So before we get out of here, why don't you give me your predictions for player of the game and the score of the game?
Okay. You know what? I'll avoid the two easy answers.
You can do whatever you want, buddy. Don't
Well,
don't avoid nothing.
all right.
Because let's be honest, you'll hump it up somehow. You
Let's
you
say
need to
I'll take a layup if they're provided.
layups will always be provided for you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
They're more like 3-pointers with how short you are. Oh,
Oh. That's kind of a yeah. Come on, man. I expect better from you. You've known me long enough and gotten enough of those shots in. I expect some better material from you. So look, obvious answer: Jalen Hurts. I expect him to be I expect him to stand out again.
okay.
Um, and I'll say final score 27-10. I think we smoke them.
Okay. Um, T. Grant says, "Ha ha ha! You think Southern California is the cool part?"
Wait,
Okay.
what?
I don't
Okay.
know. What is the cool part? I don't know.
Seattle is. I have heard Seattle's beautiful when it's not raining.
Well, yeah. Um, and I have been to Oakland,
I
not a
have as
lot of
well.
it, and Anaheim, which is Southern California, but that's about it. So
I've
I'm
been to
limited.
LA. I've
I'm
been to.
limited, T. Grant. My apologies.
I,
Uh,
I've been to
you
some
you
parts of California.
you
Yeah.
have been to some parts of California, but they were more like San Fran area, right?
Well, no.
With
Well, the first time, yeah, but the last time I was in Southern California.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, the first time. Ugh,
that first time was rough. Yeah, the car didn't make it back on the first trip back.
sure didn't. Sure didn't. But anyway, folks, we're gonna go ahead and get on out of here. I will say before we get out of here, I'm gonna go with 31-21. I think the Redskins find a way to score again another late touchdown.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll go with Saquon. I think
Okay.
we go right back to Saquon and all of that. SoCal is okay. I'm at the bottom of the Central Coast, so quasi SoCal, Central Coast. Okay,
Well, I'm sure. I'm sure it's awesome, man.
I'm thinking 2-score lead to end the game, maybe more. Love it. Yeah,
Okay.
listen,
I'm
they're
with you.
rolling right now, so anything is possible. And yeah, I don't necessarily think the Commanders are in the same realm as us, honestly. So
No, I don't either. And it's funny because as things are kind of shaping up, if we get that 2 seed, there's a good chance that the 7 seed could be Washington.
could be. Could be. So we will monitor that. But we're gonna pop out of here now. Thank you everybody for commenting, for viewing, for liking, following, sharing. Again, apologize for the short show, but next week, well, I guess we won't be doing
Yeah,
next
next
week.
week's Christmas
That,
Day. I don't
that
think
is
we're.
Christmas today.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we'll figure something out. Uh, Maybe a Tuesday edition, a Thursday edition. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe we could pull a Thursday because
Yeah,
Tuesday
we'll
Christmas
figure it
Eve
out.
is
Yeah,
big. Yeah.
stay tuned to your regularly scheduled Eagles Pinball Network shows, and we'll let you know how we're going to handle next week because we haven't had that discussion. So, so all right, folks, that is it. Eric, you got anything to add before we get on out of here?
Nah.
All right. So for the Football Smack Talk show, I am Ryan.
I'm Eric. Happy football, everybody. Go Birds.
Go Bears. F the Commanders.